My name is Pınar Yoldaş, and I'm an associate professor at UC San Diego, where I run a speculative ecology and bioarchitecture lab. So I'm a researcher, I'm an architect, and I'm an educator. This is a very special site in that it has so much of industrial history embedded in it, but as someone who works on climate crisis and biological systems and ecocide, it's also almost like a crime scene for me. A lot of crime had been committed here, both towards the health of public health and human beings, but also the plant life, the birds, like all the animals that live in the area were affected by this production and the processes and the toxicity that it created. So I come to the site with admiration mixed with fear in a way. After visiting the architectural space, I just immediately responded to the complexity of it. The volume, the light, the quality of light, the temperature, the textures, it's just really alien in a way, but also stimulating for me. Time is a very important keyword for me that keeps coming up again and again. Why? Because as the name suggests, the field that we're burning, it actually took, hundreds of millions of years to form, but then it takes just seconds to use it up, and maybe 100 years to finish it all, right? So I always thought there was something wrong with that. After seeing the building, then I realized that there's also the cultural history in the building, and there's the biological heritage around the building, and I wanted to focus more on the time it took for coal to form in the site, and different agents in the site, different elements of the site. I started thinking, how can I express the passage of time in terms of biological life, but specifically if I focus on animals and humans in the site. So one kind of easy answer for that was to use basically like skeletons or the fossil that's kind of trapped in coal, because coal was coming from the area. It had formed 320 million years ago, but because of this, there were so many strata of life forms that was kind of squeezed and squished and just was, trapped in this. So I'm more drawn to skeletal forms at this point. It's definitely not gonna look like the Day of the Dead as celebrated in Mexico, I can say that, but we'll have these kind of skeletal forms of some, again, fictional or fictitious creatures. So at the core of this concept, I think lies that there's something missing, there's something lacking, and in the context of hyperreality as understood by Baudrillard and Eco, it's lack of history in the American context, right? So we end up with something like Disneyland. So when we take that and apply it to hypernature, one thought that I quickly had was like, oh, maybe this really hints at the fact that we are losing nature. Biodiversity loss is listed as one of the biggest threats to humanity by World Economic Forum 2023, and we are really losing, biological life. We are, demolishing and damaging environments, biological habitats. So to me, this is really about replacement of what's gone, right? So it makes perfect sense. This is the last chimney in the coking plant. So if the entire coking plant is a long sentence, this is the end of the sentence. This is the period. This is where the industrial process ended historically. So I want to transform the space and use it as a screen, as a time tunnel that goes back 300 million years, 320 million years, and I want to install a sound component where we can hear
coal and fossils trapped in coal speaking to us from back in history. And at the top, when you look up, there is a beautiful optical effect. The sky looks as if it's the moon, and I want to capitalize on that, and I want to put a laser installation in here so that you're hearing the narrative, the story of coal itself, but then up there you can see the sky, the stars, perhaps some molecular information about coal, and the entire space is transformed into a very unique experience.